Saviours was released almost exactly a year ago, but is it still worth your time? I'm back with more Green Day goodness. Clearly you all wanted it, so I'm here to deliver what my community craves. Today we're diving into Green Day's latest album to see if it still rocks in 2025. I remember the day it dropped, I listened to it 3 times in a row and I even gave it a few more spins throughout the year. But to be honest, I haven't touched it in months and I haven't really jammed out to Green Day lately either. So I'm going to jog my memory by listening to each track and jotting down my thoughts and feelings about them. Then at the end of the video, I'll wrap it up with a conclusion on whether the album is a hit or a miss. I've got my CD ready, so let's crank it up. From the very beginning, the energy just leaps out the speaker and catchy lyrics bring forth a wave of positive vibes. The solo is pretty straightforward, but it doesn't need to be overly complex since after all it is a Green Day song. In my opinion, it's a delightful, brief, modern take on a track that aims to echo the spirit of American Idiot. While it may not quite hit the same notes, it certainly isn't a lackluster attempt at achieving that. All things considered, I'd give this song a respectable 7 out of 10. It may not break any records, but it successfully fulfills its purpose. This track is a brief punk song that revolves around the theme of a typical cringeworthy foolish kid, yet it somehow manages to reduce much of the cringiness associated with the stereotype. It's definitely not a bad song, and the energy it releases reminds me of something from the album Insomniac, as it has quite an intense and spirited angry song. I have no complaints since I really like that album. I'm keeping this description short, just like the song itself. I believe it scores an 8 out of 10 because for me, it's quite memorable and serves as a delightful, energetic song. When this song was first released, I wasn't particularly fond of it, but now I find it has really grown on me and I can't believe I didn't appreciate it beforehand. The guitars in the track evoke a strong impression that they may have been influenced by Weezer, as the guitar tone closely resembles their style. Additionally, the bass during the bridge is absolutely phenomenal, and I've never noticed it before. However, the lyrics tend to be quite repetitive, which is a downside, yet this repetition also contributes to the song's memorability. So overall, I would rate this song another solid 7 out of 10, thanks to its fantastic instrumentation and catchy lyrics. I vividly recall the day this song was released and how everyone was discussing how the riff bears a striking resemblance to that particular Pink song. It's something I can never seem to unhear, and it feels rather unoriginal since they essentially took that riff and then added a bit of distortion and considered it finished. Despite this, the song is still quite enjoyable, although I find the chorus to be somewhat uninspired as it simply repeats bada bing, bada boom. In my view, this makes it the least impressive track so far, as it comes across as a rather lazy composition. Although it is undeniably catchy, the overall writing feels quite hasty and lacking in effort, but I'll give it a kind 7 out of 10, as it's still a good track. Oh my goodness, I completely forgot just how amazing this song is. The energy truly makes it stand out as one of the finest tracks on the album to date. The lyrics reflect on Billy Joe Armstrong's personal experiences. You'll remember the 2012 IHOP radio performance, right? Do I really need to elaborate? But seriously, this song is exceptionally good and it's clear why. The solo is absolutely stunning and serves as yet another reason why this track is so impactful. All in all, it is undoubtedly the best song released on this album so far, and for very good reasons, so I would rate it a solid 9 out of 10. She's gonna bang her head like Nancy would. Now we start to transition into some of the less memorable tracks, but that doesn't imply they are poor songs. This particular song is yet another brief, repetitive, classic punk piece. They execute this style quite effectively. Each of the verses is quite strong, although once more the chorus is extremely repetitive, featuring the same lyric repeated multiple times. While it isn't bad, it doesn't really bring anything particularly special to the table, so I'll rate it a decent 7 out of 10. This song is a beautiful slow ballad featuring a remarkable, powerful chorus. I believe it is a rather underrated piece as it presents a delightful and catchy melody. While it may not offer anything particularly extraordinary, it doesn't require that to be effective. Additionally, I think that musically it includes one of the finest solos around. Overall, it accomplishes its purpose exceptionally well, without becoming overly complex, so it certainly deserves a rating of 8 out of 10. Is it only me, or does this song evoke a similar vibe to something you'd hear on Revolution Radio? That's certainly not a negative thing. In fact, I believe it surpasses many of the tracks featured on there. This song is incredibly lively, which is why it brings to mind the energy of Red Rad. While listening, I can't help but think it resembles Bang Bang. Does anyone else share this feeling? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know down in the comments. The track is filled with a significant amount of energy, which propels it forward impressively. Overall, it's a fantastic tune that definitely deserves a score of 8 out of 10. This song is undoubtedly my top choice from this album, and if you have seen my top 5 songs of 2024, which you can find linked in the description, you'll know that Corvette Summer was my 5th favourite track from last year. The powerful riff immediately makes the song stand out, and the chorus is incredibly impactful. Additionally, this song has remained relevant, especially since Green Day released a music video for it during the summer, which is quite amusing. The lyrics are exceptionally catchy, and the solo provides an opportunity for all instruments to showcase their talents. There's a clear reason why this is my favourite song on the album, so it's no surprise that I give it a perfect rating of 10 out of 10. This track stands out as one of the less memorable songs from the album. I find it somewhat cheesy that it references Instagram, though that aspect isn't particularly significant though. The tempo of the song is rather slow and it doesn't offer anything particularly remarkable. I've noticed that many people online seem to enjoy it, but it doesn't resonate with me personally. In my opinion, it is the weakest entry on the album, so I'd rate it a 6 out of 10. While I don't consider it to be a bad song, I simply feel like it lacks impact and doesn't achieve much. Now this is a good one. Firstly, I like to say that the guitar riff is obviously trying to be Basket Case, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a pretty good song. Just like a few of the songs on this album, it's not extraordinary, but it does what it needs to. It's one of the better middle-of-the-road songs, and yeah, this tune is a solid 8 out of 10. As, like I said, it does what it needs to do, and it's kind of basic, but in a good way. I had not previously understood that the time we are currently experiencing is referred to the 20s, however it is now clear to me obviously. This track, which lasts just 2 minutes, addresses modern issues we face in life. While it may be too brief to be regarded as an exceptional piece, it effectively achieves its intended purpose. As I mentioned, its short duration is notable. The song is quite lively and vibrant, yet it feels as though it concludes almost immediately after it begins, therefore I would rate it a 7 out of 10. I have a deep appreciation for this song because I'm particularly fond of acoustic ballads. It evokes strong emotions as it reflects on Billy Joe Armstrong's fears about becoming a father. He expresses his desire to be a good dad while grappling with the worry that he may not measure up, especially since his own father passed away when he was only 10 years old. The song is filled with profound emotion, and for me, it stands out prominently on this album. I believe it would have served as a much better closing track for the album, but I suppose beggars cannot be choosers. Nevertheless, it is an incredible, beautiful song that truly deserves a rating of 9 out of 10. This is definitely my second favourite track on the album, and it was quite challenging to decide which song I preferred between this title track and Corvette Summer. As I mentioned earlier, I ultimately chose Corvette Summer. The reason I adore this song so much is that it evokes the same emotions as Letter Bomb, which I also really enjoy. I think it might be the muffled stadium speaker effect, which brings back memories of the classic sound from American Idiot. It's such an excellent song, and I feel like it doesn't receive enough attention within the Green Day community. I would rate it a solid 10 out of 10 because I truly love this song. At last, we have arrived at the closing track, and what are my thoughts on it? Well, as I mentioned earlier, I believe that the song Father to a Son would have served as a much stronger closer, as I feel this particular track does not contribute significantly to the album. It tends to be rather forgettable and bears a strong resemblance to Suzie Chapstick, which often leaves me to confuse these two songs together. While it isn't necessarily a bad song, it fails to add anything particularly special to the album, and I also find that the guitar solo to be lacking in quality. Additionally, there's a lyric that states, "We all die young someday," and I have a strong feeling that this has already appeared in a Green Day song. If anyone can confirm this, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Overall, I'm not particularly fond of this song, so I'd rate it a fair 6 out of 10. Well, now it's time for the answer I assume you have all been waiting for. Do I still think this album is as good a year after its release? Well, I think it's not as good as it was when it came out. In fact, I think it's better. I'm not sure if it's personal bias, as I've learnt to appreciate music more now, but I feel like it's probably that I've just had more time to appreciate the album as a whole. Also, there is a reason why I rated every song out of 10, and that's so I can add them all up and find the average to see what I truly think of this album. Moment of truth? This album gets a 7.1 out of 10, which sounds kind of low, but it could be a lot worse. It was a major comeback from Father of All, and on that topic, if this video gets 30 likes, I will do an in-depth video of that terrible album. Well, this is probably the most effort I've ever put into a video, and that's because I finished this script 2 weeks before the video is due to be out, so I thought, I might as well put a lot of effort into it. Also, I'm going to make a lot more in-depth album videos like this, so stay tuned. Also, if you've made it this far, I really appreciate you, and comment Billy Gang if you've made it this far. Subscribe for more Green Day content, and I'll be back next week. Goodbye.